Hello,
Good evening, Mario.
how are you?
Oh, Hashem, Hashem. Cold today again, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm starting to get used to it.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll appreciate this weather in the middle of summer. Right? Wish
Yeah,
we had some of these days in the middle of the summer, right? Yeah.
well,
Take what we can get.
very soon there'll be summer.
Yeah, it sure be. Yeah.
Terrible, the COVID, how it's spreading.
Oh my goodness, terrible. Is your
It's
shul full of it?
full of people yesterday,
Oh, yeah. Wow.
and nobody wears the mask in shul except me and two other guys.
Terrible. It's terrible.
I mean, I still don't know what the mask does, but it gives me a
Certainly, yeah. It's a feeling of security.
certain
Maybe
sense of security.
a false sense of security. Yeah.
Well, I'm using now, my grandson brought me those 95, whatever they're called,
Oh,
K95.
the 95. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Looks. Yes.
Hi,
Who
Harold.
knows? Yeah.
Hello.
What's comfortable? Nothing is comfortable.
No, that's true. Harold, did you know that story I sent you
Which one?
about the Chabad?
Oh no, I didn't hear anything about it. Didn't hear anything
Terrible.
about it.
You see the photos?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Gone.
I'm
Oh,
surprised it wasn't in the news.
What happened?
Somebody burned down the
Somebody
Chabad
set
house in
fire.
San
Oh, I
Jose.
heard in San Jose, huh?
Yeah, you heard about it?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, 3 months after 3 months they built it, and 3 months later they burnt it down, and within 3 months, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Yeah, yeah. Did Cleveland pull it out yet or not? They're still they can lose
Oh
to
no,
Pittsburgh.
they're out of it already because they weren't in contention.
Oh, I thought they both had a chance.
Yeah, no, they were, Pittsburgh has a chance.
Oh, it's Pittsburgh, yeah,
Yeah, but they have to win next week too, so it's pretty tough.
So did the game over yet or not?
No, they're losing to Pittsburgh 16-7.
Oh, three
Terrible.
scores. Three
Yeah.
scores, yeah. To say this might be Rothberger's last game, huh?
Yeah.
What's the name
Good.
of the team now? The Guardians, no?
No, that's baseball.
Oh, that's baseball.
Yeah, we're
What is it?
talking football. Yeah,
Oh, the Browns. The Browns?
Browns.
The
Yeah.
Brown.
Sorry.
So you live there, you know.
Yeah, but what I don't. Yeah, I went to see the Browns actually.
I'm sorry.
I
I
froze my
apologize.
butt. I froze my butt.
Yeah.
Well, this
I
stadium is
used
on the lake.
I used to be from Cleveland was the place I used to come from, never go
From,
to,
yeah.
right?
Mm.
Oh, well.
Chav Beis Amud Aleph, Megillah.
Okay.
So we're dealing with the Rosh Chodesh. It's appropriate from this morning that the B'Yom HaShabbos is only 2 psukim, and the last parsha is 5 psukim. So the question is, how do we do the aliyahs there? Likrit trei mehot lasa mehach. If you read the 2 psukim from B'Yom HaShabbos and 3 psukim from Uroshei Chodshechem, parsha lutrei. But then you leave a parsha with 2 psukim. You can't leave a parsha with 2 psukim. Omer lo zulo shamat. I didn't hear an answer to that, but kiyotzu b'shamati. This not. Vayom Arishon, when you make tanios, fast days for no rain, so they would lane. Vayom Arishon breishis v'hi rakia. The tania lo breishis b'shnayim. The parsha breishis can be laned with 2 aliyahs. Yihirakia be'echad. Yihirakia 1 aliyah. Vavinambo. And we analyze. Bishlam yihirakia be'echad. The plus of psuke havi. That has 3 psukim. Elabratius b'shnayim. Chamisha psukim avi. It's only 5 psukim. How are you going to get 2 aliyahs with 5 psukim? V'tanya korbetor lo yifchos mishlosha psukim. If you're going to make an aliyah, you have to have at least 3 psukim. V'itmar Allah. Rav Amar Doile. Rav says you lane 3 psukim, and then the next aliyah you go back on the 1 pasuk, like we did this morning. Ve'amarta lehem ze. We repeat that. The first aliyah, that's the last pasuk. The second aliyah, that's the first pasuk. That's the psat of Doile. Shmuel Amar Poisek. Shmuel says you take the middle pasuk, the third pasuk, and you divide it in half. The first aliyah lanes the first half of that pasuk. The second aliyah leans the second half of that pasuk. Rav Amar Doileg, my time Amar Poisek. How come Rav says you repeat the middle pasuk and not? How come he doesn't learn like Shmuel that you split it? Ksavar, kol psukim lo paskin Moshe and lo paskinan lei. We can't divide up a pasuk that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't divide up. If Moshe read it as 1 pasuk, we can't divide it. So what does Shmuel say? Shmuel Amar paskinan lei. But Shmuel disagrees and says you can be poisek. The Amar of Chanina Kra, Tsar Gadol Hayeli Rav Chanina Gadol v'lo hitru li lifsok el tinok shel beis Rabban, hoil u'islamid asuyin. He let the Cheder kids split up psukim, but not us. So awesome time of my. Why over there is it permitted? Because it's too hard to teach a Cheder child a whole pasuk. Which is lo yefshar. Says Shmuel Achanami lo yefshar. Here also we have no alternative. We got to split up the pasuk because otherwise we won't have 2 aliyahs. So Shmuel says, "Poisek Omar my time in Omar Dole." How come he didn't just learn pshat like Rav? Well, the problem is Gzeir mishum hanichnosim mishum hayotzim. Somebody coming in is not going to realize that that there's somebody who just walked in late is not going to realize that they laned this pasuk again, so it's full 3 psukim. They would have thought they can get away with 2 psukim. Same thing for the people who go out. They're not going to hear what happened in the beginning. Meisvei parsha shel shisha psukim koros b'shnai. Raisa says you have a 6 pasuk parsha. You divide it in 2 aliyahs. V'shel chamisha psukim b'yochid. 5 psukim, 1 person. Pararishon shlosha. The first aliyah read 3. Asheni korishnai mi parsha zuvechad mi parsha acheres. The second aliyah reads the 2 remaining psukim and 1 pasuk from the next parsha. The Yeshayim shloisha. Some say the next parsha you can't just read 1. You got to read at least 3. The fishay maskam parsha pachos b'shosha psukim. Now, why go through this whole rigmarole if Rav is correct that you can be doilig v'imisa lamandam or doilig nidlig? Let's take the 5 pasuk parsha and do it the way Rav wants to, which was to repeat the middle pasuk. Ulamandam or poisik like Shmuel poit nifsik. So we see we don't do like either. More and for shani acham defshar b'hachi. Listen, you have another parsha that follows it that has the same subject matter. You can use it. By Rosh Chodesh, the subject matter is different. You can't use it. Rav Tachma Rav Ben Levi, halacha ki yeshoimrim. The halacha is like the yeshoimrim. Rav Tachma Rav Ben Levi kshem shem maschil parsha pachos b'shlosh psukim. When you start laning a parsha, you have to lane at least 3. When you leave, when you stop for an aliyah, you have to stop that there's at least 3 psukim left in the parsha. Shita, it's a double parsha. Hashto mas chalta. Beginning of a parsha, the kamekel tanakama. And tanakama was mekel. Because he said you could be moisif to the next parsha, 1 pasuk. Machmiri Yeshoimim, yet the Yeshoimim are machmir and say that no, you can't just read 1 pasuk from the next part. You got to read at least 3. Shiur, not haschalta, but the end of a parsha where we see there was no alter. The machmir Tanakama, the Tanakama definitely said you need to have at least 3 psukim remaining. So lo kosher came the machmir Yeshoimim. Certainly the machmir the Yeshoimim will be machmir. So it's a davar pashut. Why do you have to say it? Fine. That'll take care of the nichnosim. Yoitzin lo shchichi. But the people who leave in the middle of Sefer Torah, that's not shchiach. The manchi Sefer Torah ma'avki? Are they going to leave an open Sefer Torah and leave? So we don't have to do the modification for the yoitzim. Kamash law that we do it for both the yoitzim and the nichnosim. Tanakama ma'isna this year the low. Tanakama needs you to leave always 3 psukim because of the yotzim. So aschule namig zeh mishum nichnosim. So how come they're more makel by the haskola? How come they're not so worried about the nichnosim? Amri man da'ayel, someone who comes in, shiuli shayil, he asked, what are they laying? Where are they? So therefore, he's not going to have a problem. Shalach Rabbi Breid Rabbi Rav Yosef, Hilchos Samai. What's the halacha? Shalach leHilchos Doileg, like we do, like Rav does, like we did this morning by Rosh Chodesh. We don't poisik, we doileg, and v'em soidogin. We don't doileg at the end. We doileg in the middle, like we did. Sheni was a doileg. We said the Mishnah said a principle. If it has a musaf, then we add another aliyah. Iboilahu. Tanis tzibur b'kama. You have Shivasar b'tamuz. Tzom Gedalia. Tisha B'av. How many aliyahs do we lay? Do we say Rosh Chodesh Shemoy Dike Korban Musaf Arba? Rosh Chodesh Chomei, which has a musaf. There's 4. Aval Hocha, but Tainis Tzibur. The like a Korban Musaf. There's no Korban Musaf Lo, only 3. Oidil Mochanami Eke Musaf Tfila. By the tiniest, they used to add a Ne'ilah. They would add an extra Tfila. So that's also a Musaf. So maybe we do lane 4. So Toshma, come in here, approve. Implying that we deduce ha b'tainis tzibur shloisha. In contradistinction, tainis tzibur only has 3. Okay, ema reisha. Well, what was the reisha there? Well, there you could be medayik ha tainis tzibur arba. That's a circular mishnah. The reisha proves opposite to what the sefer is medayik. So Torshma, come in here, another proof. The Ravik Lila Bavel b'Tainis Tzibur. Rav visited Bavel, Tainis Tzibur, went to Shul. Kam Krab Sefer, he had an aliyah. Pasach Birich, he made a bracha before the aliyah. Chosam v'loy Birich, but he didn't make a bracha after. Nafel Kula Alma and Payu, when they did Tachanun, they all fell on their face. Rav Lo Nafel Alape, Rav didn't fall on his face. Rav was not a kohen, so be Yisrael Korah. They called him up for Shlishi. So the shaila is usually if there's only 3 aliyahs, the last aliyah would make the final bracha. He would be chosim. So my time chosim v'loy birich lav mishum debar lemikra achmina basrei must be there's a revi to be called up after Rav. But the Gemara wanted to use this as a proof that on Tainis Tzibur there's 4 aliyahs. What says that's no proof? Lo, Rav b'kahanikra. They called up Rav as Kohen. He's not a Kohen, but he's the Gadol Ador, so they can call him up Kohen. The Ravuna Kari b'kahani. Ravuna was the Gadol Ador, was not a Kohen. They called him up as a Kohen. Bishlam Ravuna Kari b'kahani da'afilu Ravami Ravasi. Ravami Ravasi dikani chashiv Ard Yisrael. They were the most important quantum in Eretz Yisrael. But make of Kaifulei Ravuna, but they were subservient to Ravuna. Ela Rav ha'ika Shmuel. Shmuel lived with Rav. The Kahana Havi udvarale. Shmuel was a kohen, and Rav respected him. Usually, he had Shmuel do things before him. So how can you tell me that in the case of the Tainis Tzibur in Bavel, Rav got called up kohen? And it's not a proof. No, he must have been called up Yisrael. It is a proof. The Gemara says no. Shmuel nami mekev havakar fleila Rav. Shmuel was subservient to Rav. But Rav uda avid le kovid. Rav gave him kovid, but the chiyavid le b'fanav. when he was in front of him. Shelo b'fanav lo avidlei. So if he was there, they called him up kohen. Hachanami mistrava, the Rabbi Kani cried. And it makes logical sense that he was called up kohen because the Isaac that could be Yisrael kohen. You wanted to have the Havamina that he was called up shlishi. The shaila is lefanei my time of baruch. In the time of Chazal, the first aliyah made the bracha. No, the next 6 aliyahs did make a bracha. At the end of Shvi, they made a final bracha. So why did you tell me if Rab was called up shlishi, what kind of bracha did he make? Lefanei, that would have been made by the first aliyah. The Gemara says lachar takana. Yeah, but later on they made a takana that every aliyah makes a bracha. So this event of Rav and Bavel occurred after the takana. And therefore it was okay that he had shlishi. And that he made a bracha before. So the shaila is, if after the takana, everybody who had an aliyah made a bracha before and after, so why didn't Rav make a bracha after the aliyah? Right? It told us he only made a bracha before and not after. So we wanted to bring a proof that, you know why? Because it was a revi. We rejected that proof. If we rejected that proof and it's shlishi, why didn't he make a bracha afterwards? Shiny Echad Yosef Rav, the Ma'ayel Eli Meifik Lo Nafti. What was the whole reason that they had to make a bracha afterwards? Because of the Yoitzim. Well, Yoitzim are not going to leave when Rav is there. They're going to come in, but they're not going to go out. Torshma Zeh Klal Kol Sheyesh Bo Bitul Malacha La'am. When people work, go on Tanya Tzibur V'Tisha B'Av, there were people who did work on Tainis, Karim Shloisha. The reason we lay 3 aliyahs on those kind of days is we want to be bakatzer the tefillah so people can get to work. Now, when people didn't work, on Rosh Chodesh, women didn't work on Rosh Chodesh. Where there's a decrease in the type of work you can do, Kohen Arba, there's not such a pressure because people aren't working. So Shema Minah, that Tainis Tzibur, there's only 3. We didn't learn in our mission this way. Ze'aklal. Kol yom sheyesh bo musaf, ve'ena yontif, like today, Rosh Chodesh, or Chol Shel Moed. It has a musaf, but it's not a yontif with Isra Malacha. Kohen Arba. Now, Lasuyi Mai, it's coming to exclude Lav Lasuyi Tainis Tzibur V'Tisha B'Av, that it's only 3. Ravashi Masisan Mani. So according to Ravashi, who's our Mishnah? Lo Tanakab of Rabbi Yosi, the Tanya. Kalios B'Sheni V'Chamishi, Kohen Shloishu Maftir Echad. The Tainis falls on Monday or Thursday, you read 3. One of them is a Maftir. For Shlishi Revi, if the Tainis falls on Tuesday or Wednesday, Kohen Echad, Maftir Echad. You only read 1 aliyah. So obviously that's not our Tana. Because we don't have a Tana that says you only read 1. Rabbi Yossi Yomer Lo'olam Korim Shloishim After Echad. So we don't always read them after. So our mission is not Rabbi Yossi, it's not the Tana Kama. Velakasha Zeh Klal. So, but Ravashi was medayek from Zeh Klal. The Gemara says, Lo, Lasuyi Rosh Chodesh Moed. The Zeh Klal came to include Rosh Chodesh and Moed. Well, what do you mean include? It says beferish what to do. Rosh Chodesh Moed Kohen Arba. What do you need Zeh Klal to include Rosh Chodesh and Moed? That's the whole content of the Mishnah. Simon Abal Meyohiv. It gave us a double teaching as a simon. You might think the first day of Pesach and Chol Hamoed is the same. But you should take the following principles in your hand. Called the Tfeilei Milsa Mechavre, Tfeilei Gavri Yisera. As the days go up in importance and in Kedusha, you add an aliyah. Yokach. Rosh Chodesh Moed Dika Korban Musaf. Rosh Chodesh and Chol Hamoed have a Musaf Kohen Arba, because it has an extra thing above regular Monday and Thursday. Monday and Thursday is 3. They don't have Musaf. Comes Rosh Chodesh and Chol Hamoed, you have Musaf, you add 4. B'Yontif, the Asur Basiyas Malacha, on Yontif, Pesach, Sukkot, Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah, where there's Isra Malacha, That's an added, besides Musaf, you have Chamisha. B'Yom Kippurim, the Onish Kores. For example, you do Malach on Yontif. It's not Osir Kores. It's only Osir Belav. But on Yom Kippur, where if you do the Malacha, you get Kores, so that's an additional Milsa Tfei Shisha. You have 6 alias. Shabbos, the Iki Isra Skila. Kores is heavenly death. It's not death by Beis Din. But if you violate Shabbos in front of Eidim with Asra, you get Skila. So Shabbos is higher than Yom Kippur. So therefore you have Shiva, period. Gufa. We mentioned something in passing. We brought it as a proof. Now we're going to learn it in detail. We mentioned Rav Vikl Bavel B'Tanis Tzibur. Rav visited the shul in Bavel on a Tanis Tzibur. Kam Krab Sifra. He was called up in Aliyah, Pasach Barich. In before the Aliyah, he made a bracha. Chasam B'Loi Birich. When he finished, he didn't make a bracha. Then Nafal Kulama and Payu. Then they did Tachanun and they fell on their face, but V'Rav Lo Nafal Alam Pei. Rav didn't fall on his face. So my time of Rav Lo Nafal Alape. Why didn't Rav fall on Filas Apayim? The answer is Ritzpa Shalavoni Maisai. There was a stone floor. V'tanya Veven Maski Slotit Nu Bar Tzachel Nishtachavos Aleh. Don't bow down on a floor, on a stone floor. Aleh Iyatem Nishtachave Bar Tzachem. If it's stam a place, but stone and Beis HaMikdash you could bow. So Rav didn't fall in Filas Apayim because there was a stone floor in front of him. So why did the rest of the people fall in the Filas Apayim? Kamei de Rav, the Gemara says, was only in front of Rav, not in front of the people. Okay, let him take a few steps to where the tzibur is and fall on his face, where there's no stone. So lo boy le mitrach tzibur didn't want to be matrich the tzibur, to wait for him while he did that. That's one pshat. The boy Sam, if you don't want, I'll give you a different answer. Rav pishut yadayim v'raglayim hava ovid. Rav, when we do tachanun, we just fall on to the left a little bit. But Rav went on the ground with his hands and legs stretched out. That means when the Torah asked you on a floor, it's only to bow with Pishut Yadayim V'Raglayim. And since Rav had a minhag to do that, he didn't do it. Okay, let him modify his nefila and just go to the side. No, he didn't want to change from his regular minhag. That an Adam Choshev like Rav is different. What's this? Rav had a different reason why he didn't do Nefilas Apayim. An Adam Choshev is not permitted. What's supposed to happen when you fall on your face? You're supposed to be answered. You're davening to ask for rain, or you're davening to ask for some kind of Yeshua. So if you're an Adam Choshev and you don't think, you're not confident that your davening is gonna be Nanak Yeshua bin Nun, then you should not. You have no permission to fall because it's gonna lead to a weakening in Emunas Chachamim. Chsiv Vayom Hashem Yeshua kum leich. Lama zata noifel al panecha. Why are you falling on your face? Go, I'll answer you. But somebody who's not sure that he's going to be answered, it's a pchisas kavod that he's davening, he's not answered. Okay, now that we mentioned there's the different ways to bow, Tan Rabban and Kida is alapayim. You know, somehow they would bow, they're on their face, it's like they did a handstand, like they did a headstand, but they did it on their face. They on their face on the ground, and somehow their body, the rest of their body was in the air. Shenemar vatikot bat sheva paim eretz. Batsheva did this kida. Kriya al birkaim is kriya like koirim umishtachavim. Koiria is just falling to your knees. It's going down with spread out hands and feet. Yaakov told Yosef, "Are we going to go and mishtachaveh like this?" And that meant leaning completely on the ground. Levi achve kida kamed Rebbe v'itla. Levi did this maneuver or the Kohen Gadol was supposed to do a kid, and Levi was demonstrating how he did it. And it's complicated. You used your fingertips or something like that, and he wanted Levi, and he became lame in demonstrating this in front of Rebbe. Break the Gemara v'haka garmalei. Is the physical exertion, is that what caused it? V'amar Rabbi Elazar, Lo'olam hayatiach adam dvarim klapi mala. A person shouldn't throw complaints against Hashem, sharp things in his davening. Levi, one of his times when he davened, he was hitiach, this is Masechta Tainis. Levi went up to Shemaim and says, you're not being mashgiach on your banim. So he was meitiach dvarim klapi mala. And Shari Adam got a litiach dvarim klapi mala v'itla. And the punishment for doing that was that he became lame. So why do you tell me he became because of the kiddush that he became lame? Umanu Levi. The Gemara answers hava hagar malay. In Chanami, the day that it had to happen was the hitiach, and when did it happen? B'shas sakana. That means when he put himself at risk doing this exertion, that's when he became lame. Okay.
Are you allowed to have
By the way,
a